Logan Pierce wiped the dirt off his hands and looked up at the dark sky. The stars above Earth seemed cold and distant, as if they did not care about the people below. Earth was forgotten by the rest of the Commonwealth. The great empire of human worlds had long stopped paying attention to this small, rough planet. Logan was once a soldier, but now he worked in the mines near the edge of the city. His uniform was torn, his boots worn out. The Commonwealth's leaders called people like him rejected. They said Earthlings were weak and unfit to fight in the big wars between the stars. They said Earthlings were slow, dirty, and useless. But Logan knew better. He knew there was strength in those who fought to survive here. Every day he saw people like Ava Monroe and Noah Grant fight to protect their families. Ava was sharp and fast with her mind. Noah was clever with machines. Together, they dreamed of something more than this broken world. The city was loud with shouts and machines. Smoke rose from factories. The rich families lived far away, on shining space stations above the clouds. They wore clean clothes and talked about honor and noble blood. They thought the Earth people were beneath them, but trouble was coming. Reports came in that rebellion had broken out on other worlds. Soldiers of the Commonwealth were losing fights to groups nobody understood. Ships were destroyed in surprise attacks. Planets that once bowed to the Queen's rule were now in chaos. Queen Eleanor Valen sat on her throne on the world of Arenthia, watched the news with a cold face. Her nobles were losing control, and the rebellion grew stronger every day. The proud families who had ruled for centuries could not stop the fighting. They lacked the toughness needed for this new kind of war. She needed something new, something no one expected. A message was sent to Earth. It was a call for warriors, but not from the nobles or soldiers already in the Commonwealth. The Queen wanted the rejected. She wanted the people who lived in the shadows, the ones everyone ignored. Logan, Ava, and Noah all received the call. They gathered in a small room under the city, away from the eyes of those who looked down on them. The offer was dangerous. The trials were brutal, but it was a chance to fight back. To prove the stars were wrong, Logan tightened his fists. They think we are weak, that we cannot fight. We will show them what Earthborn can do. Ava nodded. We are smarter, faster. We know how to survive. The nobles only care about rules. We do what works. Noah looked at the old machines around him. We'll make sure we have the tools. We will be ready. They were not alone. Others joined them. Mason Hale, a tough fighter from the factories. Claire Rivers, a sharp-eyed scout. And Jared Cole, a quiet man with a strong will. Together, they made a small team of warriors nobody expected. The first step was the blood trials. These were ancient tests of strength and skill, once only for royal heirs. Now, the Queen had opened them to the rejected. It was a chance to rise or to die trying. The trials were held in a forgotten arena on the outskirts of the city. Logan faced giant beasts, bred for combat. Ava solved puzzles in zero gravity that twisted the mind. Noah repaired broken weapons while under attack. Every test pushed them harder than they ever imagined. Some did not survive, but the ones who passed became stronger. They became the unbroken. Word spread quickly. The nobles laughed at first. They said the Earthborn would fail and die like rats. But when the Unbroken won their first fight, fear grew. The rejected were no longer just victims. They were becoming something new. Logan stood with his team, looking up at the stars again. This time, he felt fire in his chest. They were ready to fight. And the stars would never forget Earth again. The blood trials were more than just tests. They were a battle for survival. Logan and the others entered the arena with no idea what to expect. The air was thick with dust and tension. The crowd was silent, waiting to see if the rejected would fail or rise. The first challenge was hand-to-hand combat. Logan faced a tall, strong man named Garrett from one of the noble families. Garrett sneered at Logan, confident that the Earthborn could not match his skill. But Logan was quick and hard. He used everything he had learned from years of fighting on the rough streets of Earth. He dodged Garrett's heavy blows and landed a punch that sent him crashing to the ground. The crowd gasped. Ava faced a different kind of test. She was forced to solve a complex puzzle while being attacked by a machine that shot electric darts. She moved fast, her mind working quickly under pressure. She solved the puzzle just as the last dart flew past her shoulder. Noah was tested on his knowledge of weapons and machines. He had to repair a broken rifle while under fire from a small squad of soldiers. Calm and focused, he worked with steady hands, fixing the rifle just in time to save his own life. One by one, the rejected faced dangers that nobles had never seen or dared to face. Mason fought brutal fighters with no honor, using dirty tricks and fierce strikes to win. Claire ran through dangerous forests, hunting down enemies without mercy. Jared took on several men at once, fighting with quiet strength that shocked everyone. The nobles watched, their faces hard and angry. They whispered that these Earthborn could never replace the true warriors of the Commonwealth. But as the rejected passed each trial, their voices grew silent. Queen Eleanor watched with cold eyes. She saw the raw power and the will to survive in the Earthborn. They did not follow the old rules. They did not care about glory or titles. They fought to live and to win. This was what the Commonwealth needed. After the trials, the Queen gave the rejected a chance to lead a small fleet. Their first mission was to reclaim a mining colony that rebels had taken over. The nobles sent their best commanders too, ready to show the Earthborn their place. Logan took command of the flagship. Ship was old but fast. Iva worked in the control room, watching every move of the enemy. Noah prepared weapons and fixed damaged systems. Mason, Claire, and Jared led squads of fighters ready to storm the planet. The rebels were brutal. They had no respect for peace or mercy. When the battle started, the air filled with the roar of guns and explosions. Logan ordered the attack. The rejected moved like a storm, fast and deadly. Mason led his squad through dark tunnels, fighting enemies face to face. Claire ran ahead, scouting and clearing the way. Jared stood in the open, drawing enemy fire so others could move safely. The nobles' commanders were shocked. Their carefully planned attacks failed against the Earthborn's wild, aggressive style. The rebels were pushed back. Colony was retaken in a single day. When the battle ended, the Queen sent a message to the nobles. The rejected were not just survivors, they were warriors. The nobles could no longer ignore them. But the victory brought danger too. Some nobles were angry and jealous. They wanted to destroy the Earthborn before they became a real threat. Secret meetings were held in dark rooms. Plans were made to stop the Unbroken. Logan and his team knew the fight was only beginning. Commonwealth was bigger and more dangerous than any mining colony. But they had seen what they could do when they fought together. They had the power to change the stars. As the ships prepared to leave the planet, Ava looked at the stars above. She said, "We are not just rejected anymore. We are the future." Logan nodded, "And we will fight to make sure the stars remember us." Noah smiled, ready for the battles ahead. Mason checked his weapons, hungry for the next fight. Claire and Jared stood ready, silent but strong. The Queen had given them a chance. Now, it was up to them to take it. The Earthborn warriors were coming. The Unbroken fleet moved fast through space. Logan stood on the bridge of their ship, the Raven, watching the stars pass by. Their next target was a system called Vora. It was important because of its rich resources and its location near the Queen's home world. The nobles had left Vora weak, thinking it was safe. But the rebels had taken control. The Queen wanted the Unbroken to take it back quickly and quietly. No mistakes, no delays. Logan looked at Ava, who was working beside him. Her eyes were sharp, scanning data and enemy movements. She had become the best strategist among them. Noah was below decks, making sure the ship's weapons were ready to fire at a moment's notice. Mason, Claire, and Jared prepared their squads for battle. The fleet entered Vora's space with no warning. The rebel ships were caught off guard. The Unbroken attacked with fierce speed. Their ships moved like lightning, striking before the enemy could react. Explosions lit up the darkness. Enemy ships were torn apart by missiles and laser fire. Mason's squad landed on Vora's largest moon, ready to clear rebel forces from the surface. The fighting was brutal. Mason led his men through ruined towns, facing rebels who fought with rage and desperation. He did not give them mercy. Every shot he fired was precise and deadly. Claire moved through the shadows, taking down enemies with silent weapons. Jared stood firm, holding positions and protecting his team. The rebels fought back hard. They had nothing to lose. Logan's forces lost some men, but they kept pushing forward. Ava's plans worked perfectly, and the rebels were trapped between attack forces. After days of fighting, the rebels broke. The Unbroken took control of Vora. The victory was complete. But the nobles were watching closely. They sent a fleet to stop the Earthborn warriors from gaining more power. The noble commander, Lord Kalen, was proud and cruel. He saw the Unbroken as threats to his family and the old way of ruling. Lord Kalen's fleet met the Raven and its squadron near a small asteroid field. The battle was fierce and fast. Lasers cut through space, ships spun out of control and exploded. Logan directed his fleet with calm and sharp orders. Ava's strategies kept them one step ahead. Noah's quick repairs saved many ships. Mason and his squad took down enemy fighters before they could reach the Raven. Claire and Jared fought in the cramped corridors. When enemy troops boarded their ship, the fight reached the edge of disaster when Lord Kalen's flagship targeted the Raven directly. The ship shook from heavy hits. Logan ordered a risky move, a fast jump through the asteroid field to escape. The plan worked. The Raven slipped away, but not without damage. The fleet regrouped at a hidden base on a small moon. They counted their losses and prepared for the next fight. Queen Eleanor sent a message. She praised the Unbroken and warned the nobles that the old ways were ending. She promised new power for those who fought for her. But the nobles did not give up. They planned deeper attacks and sabotage. They spread lies about the Earthborn warriors, calling them traitors and criminals. Logan knew the battle was no longer just about planets and ships. It was about control of the Commonwealth's future. If the nobles won, the rejected would be hunted and destroyed. If the Unbroken won, the Empire would change forever. The team gathered in a small room on the base. Logan looked at each of them. Ava, Noah, Mason, Claire, Jared. They were tired but ready. They'd seen what they could do together. They had become more than survivors. They were warriors, Ava said. We have strength and skill. We fight for the future of all Earthborn. Noah nodded. The nobles fear us because we are different. We think fast. We fight harder. Mason cracked his knuckles. Let them come. We'll be waiting. Claire and Jared exchanged determined looks. They were ready to face whatever came next. Logan spoke last, his voice steady and strong. The stars rejected us once. Now we will make them remember our name. We fight not just to survive. We fight to win.
Outside the base,
The stars shone cold and distant. But inside, the fire of the Unbroken burned bright. The war for the Commonwealth had only just begun. The cold metal walls of the base shook with the sound of explosions. The nobles had found them. Lord Kalen's forces attacked without warning. The rejected warriors barely had time to prepare. Logan stood at the entrance, his rifle ready. He watched as enemy troops stormed the gates. The fight was brutal from the start. The nobles were well-trained and armed with powerful weapons, but they lacked the fire in their hearts that the Earthborn had. Mason charged forward, shouting orders. His squad moved like a pack of wolves, cutting down enemies in close combat. Claire darted through the shadows, taking out soldiers with quick, silent strikes. Jared stood behind cover, firing steady shots to hold the line. The base was soon filled with the sounds of gunfire and shouts. Smoke and dust clouded the air. Noah worked frantically, repairing power systems to keep the defenses running. Ivea guided the fighters, her voice calm but firm over the comms. Suddenly, an explosion rocked the command center. The nobles had breached the inner defenses. Logan rushed inside to find the enemy advancing toward their control consoles. The rebels were close to winning this battle. Logan fired into the crowd, pushing back the attackers. He found Ava fighting hand-to-hand with a noble soldier. Without hesitation, Logan joined her. Together they pushed the enemy back. The nobles fought hard, but the Unbroken fought harder. They refused to give up their home. The battle raged through the corridors, turning the base into a war zone. Logan's team fought side by side, each protecting the other. Then came the worst news. The Queen's flagship was under attack near Arenthia. If it was destroyed, the rebellion would lose its only hope of peace. Ava received the message, and her face went pale. "We need to help the Queen," she said. "If her ship falls, everything falls." Logan nodded. "We will not let that happen." The Unbroken gathered their forces and boarded the Raven. The ship lifted off, engines burning bright as they raced toward the throne world. The fight in space was even fiercer. Lord Kalen's fleet blocked their path, ready to crush them. Logan ordered his pilots to break formation and attack the enemy from all sides. Ava directed the ship's weapons, aiming for the enemy's weak points. Noah worked the systems, boosting shields and fixing damage. The sky around Arenthia lit up with laser fire and explosions. The battle was brutal and fast. Ships collided. Some lost control and exploded in fireballs. Mason led a squadron of fighters in a desperate attempt to break through. Claire and Jared joined the boarding teams. Their mission was to get onto the Queen's ship and defend it from inside. The boarding was chaotic. The nobles fought fiercely, but the Earthborn were stronger and more determined. Inside the Queen's ship, Logan and Ava found the bridge under attack. Soldiers surrounded the Queen's guards. Logan fought his way through, clearing a path to the Queen. Queen Eleanor looked at Logan with tired eyes but nodded. She trusted him. Together, they pushed back the attackers. With the Queen safe, the Unbroken turned the tide. The noble fleet was forced to retreat. The victory was hard-won, but it gave hope. Back on the ground, the battle for the base was finally over. The nobles were beaten, but not destroyed. They retreated into the shadows, planning their next move. Logan gathered his team. They were battered and bruised, but alive. "This fight is far from over," he said. "The nobles will come back. We have to be ready." Ava looked out the window at the stars. "We have changed the game. The old world is breaking." Noah added, "They fear us because we do not follow their rules." Mason cracked his knuckles. "Let them come. We will be waiting." Claire and Jared stood quietly, ready for what was next. The Queen made a bold decision. She named Logan and the Unbroken her personal warriors. They were no longer just rejected. They were the defenders of the new Commonwealth. The nobles were angry. They hated the Queen's choice. But the people on the frontier cheered. For the first time, the Earthborn felt they belonged. The war was not over. Battles would come harder and closer. But the Unbroken had one thing the nobles did not: the will to fight and win. The stars once rejected them. Now they would carry the future of humanity on their shoulders. The final battle was coming. Logan and the Unbroken stood ready on the bridge of the Raven. Queen Eleanor's voice came over the comms. "This is our last chance. The nobles want to crush us and keep the old world alive. We fight for a new future." The Raven flew toward Arenthia, the throne world, where the nobles had gathered their largest army. Thousands of ships surrounded the planet. The sky was filled with fire and smoke. Logan looked at his team. Ava was calm, her eyes focused on the screens. Noah checked the weapon systems one last time. Mason, Claire, and Jared prepared their squads for the fight ahead. The Queen's forces were outnumbered. The nobles had the advantage in numbers and ships. But the Unbroken had something stronger: the will to win. The battle began with a roar. Ships raced toward each other, firing lasers and missiles. The sky shook with explosions. The Raven led the charge, breaking through enemy lines. Mason's fighters dove into the enemy fleet. They moved fast, hitting weak points and retreating before the nobles could react. Claire and Jared led boarding teams that crashed onto enemy ships, fighting hand-to-hand in narrow corridors. The fight was savage. Every inch of space was covered with fire and blood. Logan directed the Raven through dangerous enemy fire, dodging blasts that could tear the ship apart. Ava called out orders: "Focus fire on the command ships. We take them down, we win this battle." Noah worked quickly, repairing damage as it came. The ship shook again when a missile hit near the engine room. "We won't go down here," he shouted as he fixed the core. Inside the enemy command ship, the nobles fought fiercely to keep control. Their leader, Lord Kalen, was there, cold and cruel. He saw Logan's boarding team coming and sent soldiers to stop them. Claire and Jared fought side by side. Claire moved with speed and precision, while Jared stood strong, protecting her from attacks. They reached the control room and took it by force. On the Raven, Logan prepared for the final move. "Ready the fighters. We hit the main fleet at once." Mason led the strike with fearless speed. Their fighters punched through the enemy shields and caused chaos in the noble fleet. The Queen's flagship appeared and joined the fight. Together with the Raven, they pushed the nobles back. The enemy ships began to fall apart under the Unbroken's assault. Al's face showed anger and fear. He realized the old world was ending. On Arenthia's surface, The people watched the battle. They saw the unbroken fight like heroes. The nobles lost their power as the queen's forces took control. When the battle ended, the sky was quiet, except for the burning wreckage of the defeated fleet. The queen's voice came through the comms again. Today, the Commonwealth is reborn. The rejected have become our strongest warriors. We build a new future together. Logan stood on the deck, looking at the stars. They were no longer cold and distant. They were a promise. Ava smiled. We fought for Earth. For all of us, Noah added. The stars won't forget us now. Mason laughed. We showed them what real warriors look like. Blair and Jared nodded, ready for whatever came next. The queen stepped forward. You are my warriors, my protectors, the unbroken. Logan looked at her and said, we are ready. We fight for all who were rejected. We fight to win. The new Commonwealth was born that day. The old nobles lost their grip on power. The Earthborn warriors became legends across the stars. They were no longer weak or forgotten. They were the future. The stars had rejected them once. Now humanity made them warriors, and they would never be ignored again.